Greetings, my dear friends. Today I continue our journey through ancient cosmologies. We have already spoken about Hinduism with its infinite cycles and Mount Meru, about Buddhism with its 6 realms and 3 spheres, about Inca cosmology with its 3 worlds, Hanan Pacha, Ke Pacha, and Uku Pacha. But today I want to turn to a civilization that perhaps looked deeper into the cosmos than any other, to the Maya civilization. This is Dreamweaver Mystics, as always. When the Spanish conquistadors arrived in the Yucatan in the 16th century, they saw cities covered by jungle, stone pyramids rising above the forest canopy, plazas, temples, observatories. But they were not interested in knowledge. They were interested in gold and in faith, a fanatical faith that all books written in another language were devilish writings. And they burned them. Thousands of books, codices that held wisdom accumulated over millennia. Today, only 4 codices remain. 4. But even from these fragments, we understand. The Maya knew things we do not know. They looked at the sky and saw not just stars. They saw a mechanism, a clock, a calendar, a cosmic machine moving with incredible precision. And this machine was not created by them. It was given to them. By whom? Gods? Aliens? Ancestors who knew more than we can imagine? The Maya believed that the universe has cycles, large and small, like day and night, like the seasons, like life and death. But these cycles last not 1 year or 100 years. They last thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years, and they repeat. Each cycle ends with a catastrophe, and each cycle begins anew. We live in the 5th cycle, the 5th sun. Before us, there were 4 others. The first sun ended with a flood, the second with hurricanes, the third with fire, the 4th with a deluge. The 5th is called the sun of movement. It will not end, the priests say. It will transition into a new state. The 6th sun will not be like the previous ones. It will be conscious. But more on that later. The Maya measured time with an accuracy that modern science only achieved with atomic clocks. Their calendar was more precise than the Gregorian calendar. The Gregorian calendar loses 1 day every 3,300 years. The Maya calendar loses 1 day every 6,000 years. And that is not the limit. Some researchers suggest that under certain conditions, the margin of error of the Maya calendar is 1 day in 10,000 years. How did they achieve this? Without telescopes, without computers, without even writing as we understand it. They used hieroglyphs that were only deciphered in the 20th century. They used 3 calendars simultaneously. The sacred calendar, the Tzolk'in, 260 days. It was connected to rituals, a person's destiny, their birth date. It determined when to plant, when to fight, when to marry. The solar calendar, the Haab, 365 days. It was connected to agriculture, the seasons, civil life. It helped plan plantings and harvests, and the long count. It records time in vast cycles, stone witnesses, baktuns, katuns, tunes, cycles lasting thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years. The longest cycle in the Maya calendar is 23,040,000,000 days. That is about 63 million years. Why did they need such precision? Why did they need such depth? Why measure time that does not fit into a human life? Perhaps they knew that time is not just a line, it is a circle, and they wanted to measure the entire circle, from beginning to end, from the birth of the universe to its death, and from death to rebirth. The Maya long count begins with a mythical date, August 11th, 3114 BCE. For them, this was the birth date of the fifth sun, the fifth epoch of humanity. Before that, there were 4 other epochs. We live in the fifth epoch. The sixth sun has not yet arrived. And here, many remember 2012, the end of the 13th Baktun, December 21st, 2012, the apocalypse that did not happen. But the Maya never predicted the end of the world. They predicted the end of a cycle, a transition, like December 31st. You do not die at midnight. You cross into a new year. So it was for the Maya. The old cycle ended, a new one began. But the media made a sensation. People sold their houses, built bunkers. And December 22nd, 2012 simply arrived. And nothing happened. Or did it? Perhaps we just did not notice. Perhaps the transition happened inside us. Perhaps we became different, more sensitive, more aware, more awakened? Or maybe we shifted into another multiverse where the apocalypse did not happen. But that is a topic for another video. Why were the Maya so obsessed with time? Why did they measure it with such precision? The answer may be both simpler and more complex. Because for the Maya, time was not an abstraction. It was alive. It was a deity. It was a force that creates and destroys worlds. They did not just watch time. They spoke with it. They made offerings to it. They built temples in its honor. At the center of Maya cosmology is the world tree. It grows from the center of the earth, through all 3 worlds, upward to the sky. It has roots in the underworld, Xibalba. Its trunk is in our world. Its branches are in the heavens. This is the axis of the universe. The tree holds up the sky. And every Maya ruler was a living embodiment of this tree. He established the connection between worlds. When a ruler died, he was buried in a pyramid. The pyramid became a new world tree, a connection between Xibalba and the sky, between the dead and the living, between the past and the future. The 4 cardinal directions had their colors. East, red, the color of life and sunrise. West, black, the color of death and sunset. North, white, the color of cold and purity. South, yellow, the color of maturity and harvest. And the center, green, the color of the world tree, the color of life. These colors were not just symbols. They were directions of energy, a map of cosmic forces that influence a person, the harvest, battles, the fates of nations. The Maya observed Venus, not just observed. They calculated its cycle with an accuracy of a few hours, 584 days. 584 days and Venus returns to the same point in the sky. They knew this, and they knew that Venus was not just a planet, it was a god, Kukulkan, the feathered serpent. He descended to earth and ascended to heaven. His appearance predicted war, his disappearance, peace. When Kukulkan descended to earth, the priests began rituals. Offerings were made. Wars began. Because the god of war was also the god of the morning star. They knew the cycles of Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. They knew that the planets do not move in circles, but along complex trajectories. They did not need telescopes. Their eyes and generations of observation were enough. Thousands of years, hundreds of generations. They passed down knowledge from father to son, from priest to priest, from one dynasty to another. And the knowledge accumulated, became more precise, became science. Modern scientists scratch their heads. How could a people who did not know iron, did not know the wheel, did not know writing as we understand it, calculate the synodic period of Venus to within 1 day? How did they build the observatory at Chichen Itza? A round tower with windows aligned to the points of sunrise and sunset on the equinoxes and solstices. How did they know that on the spring equinox, the shadow of a serpent appears on the pyramid of Kukulkan? The serpent slithers down the steps, connecting heaven and earth. This is not magic. This is geometry, astronomy, engineering. They calculated the angle of the pyramid so that the shadow of 7 triangles of light created the illusion of a crawling serpent. And this serpent appears every year, at the same time. To the minute. Without computers, without lasers, without modern equipment. Only stones, faith, and knowledge. The Maya knew that the Earth is round, long before Columbus. They had star charts marking objects that modern telescopes only discovered in the 20th century. Coincidence? Perhaps. But too many coincidences. How could they know about the Orion Nebula? How could they know about the Pleiades? How could they know that the North Star was not always the North Star? They knew about precession, the slow rotation of the Earth's axis. A full cycle, 26,000 years. They knew. They built their pyramids to align with important stars in different eras. And they believed that these cycles affect humanity. When the Earth's axis points to a new star, an epoch changes, consciousness changes, history changes. We are now living at a turning point. The Earth's axis is shifting. We are entering the age of Aquarius. The Maya knew this thousands of years ago. There is a hypothesis that the Maya did not discover this knowledge themselves. They received it from gods, from those who descended from the sky. Kukulkan, Viracocha, sorcerers who came from the stars. On Maya frescoes, there are images of strange beings. Some call them astronauts. Helmets, spacesuits, devices on belts, tubes leading to the nose. Skeptics say, these are just ritual masks. But why do the masks look so much like modern spacesuits? Why do they have the same hoses, valves, portholes? Why are they sitting in strange machines that look like spaceships? At Palenque, on the lid of the sarcophagus of King Pacal, there is an image. Pacal sits in a strange machine. He leans forward, levers in his hands, a tube at his nose, fire beneath him. Skeptics say, this is the tree of life. Enthusiasts say, this is a spaceship. Who is right? I do not know. But I know that the image looks as if it was drawn by someone who had seen flight, who knew what weightlessness felt like, who understood that the Earth is a sphere and the stars are distant suns. And here we come to the most important part. What makes Maya cosmology not just ancient, but frighteningly modern. The Maya believed that the universe is not a mechanism, it is an organism. It breathes, it pulsates. It goes through phases of birth, growth, maturity, old age, and death. And then it is reborn. a cycle. Again, a cycle. As in Hinduism, as in Buddhism, as in Inca beliefs. We think we were the first to discover that the universe expands, contracts, explodes. But the Maya knew this thousands of years ago. They did not know the word Big Bang. They called it the birth of the fifth sun. Most of what the Maya knew has been destroyed. The bonfires of Spanish monks, time, the jungle. But the stones remain. Pyramids that still look at the stars, hieroglyphs that we are learning to read, and knowledge that we are rediscovering. Every time a scientist deciphers another inscription, it turns out the Maya knew more than we thought. They knew that the universe would not end in 2012. They knew we would survive this transition. They left us a message, carved in stone, on the pyramid of Kukulkan. On the spring equinox, the shadow of the serpent slithers down the steps. 7 triangles of light. 7, the sacred number, the number of creation. And every year, the serpent returns, like time, like life, like hope. The Maya were not just an ancient civilization. They were keepers of knowledge. We lost their books, but we did not lose their sky. The stars they looked at are still in place, and if we learn to look, we will see the same things they saw, and perhaps we will understand what they understood, that time is a circle, that death is a beginning, that knowledge cannot be burned. It remains in stone, in blood, in DNA. We carry Maya knowledge within us because they were human, and we are human, and we look at the same stars. And that is all for today. This was Dreamweaver Mystics. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel. I read the comments. And write, what do you know about the Maya? Have you heard of the flying Pacal? Do you believe that ancient civilizations received knowledge from gods? Have you ever felt that time is not a straight line? I read everything. And remember, when you look at the stars, you are looking at the same cosmos that the Maya priests looked at. And perhaps they are still there, watching, waiting for us to catch up. Until next time.